The supreme, profound, and sublime Dharma is difficult to encounter in a billion eons. Now I see it, hear it, receive it, and capture it. I vow to attain the true meaning of the Tathagata. In order to liberate all sentient beings, let us generate the supreme bodhicitta.
Good. Let us now continue with our class on a journey to the West. Currently, we are looking at the second mind training, all states of happiness in samsara, although temporarily appearing to be pleasurable, eventually lead to suffering, like eating a poisonous fruit. This instruction tells us that in the cyclic existence of samsara, all sorts of things that may bring joy and pleasure are temporary. Although they appear to be pleasant, they can only bring you suffering in the end. This is the true reality in samsara. It is as if you eat poisonous food. Although it tastes sweet at first, it will take your life instead of bringing you any benefit. So some temporary happiness or temporary pleasure, such as getting wealthy and having high status and so on, will eventually lead to suffering at the end. There are people who are too indulged in movies and those kinds of media and so on. They would feel that career, love, relationship, family would bring them happiness, and that kinds of happiness would last forever. But it is not true. In fact, they would only lead to suffering at the very end, just like tasting something that may be sweet at first, but will take your life at the end and not bringing you any benefit. Clinging to happiness in samsara is the same as swallowing poison. If you fall prey to temporary pleasure and indulge yourself in negative deeds in pursuit of it, you're bound to suffer endlessly in the future. Just like swallowing a poisonous fruit, you will only experience suffering when poison takes effect. Then the third mind training says that the various circumstances that occur in life never reach a conclusion, like pursuing a mirage. People spend all their energy to experience some temporary pleasure and do everything possible to avoid suffering. For the purpose of enjoying good food, wearing fine clothes, and owning abundant possessions, they struggle and strive. But all these pursuits are meaningless. While in life, yes, we need to strive to maintain a level of to maintain livelihood, but at the same time we need to understand that they're not of any true meaning. People seeking this pleasure are no different from animals who thirst after the water of mirage and run desperately toward it, finding not a drop of water at all. Well, as human beings, we need to seek for the truth. We need to pursue the truth. Now that we are studying all of these texts of profundity and sutras and shastras and so on, at least we need to understand all of the teachings theoretically. After understanding it even theoretically, when we look at people strive to obtain whatever they grasp onto, we would understand that 90% of them are striving for themselves, but not for the others at all. All sorts of things in life, wealth and fame, peace and happiness, reputation and prestige, are impermanent by nature, with no inherent existence at all. Thus, you must cut off all attachment to them. There are cases of people who had abundant wealth and possession last year, but became a beggar this year. I think this happened during COVID, during the pandemic. There were people who used to be really wealthy, but because of the pandemic, they lost all their wealth, and it's now very difficult for them to maintain a basic livelihood. And then also there are authorities who used to have lots of power in their hands. But then, because of various things, they would get imprisoned. They would lose their freedom and all their possessions and would only live in a very small prison cell. So in our life, all kinds of things could happen in this world because of impermanence. There are also examples of people who suffered untold misery and hardship last year but became quite rich and happy this year. During the pandemic, during the war, there are people who maybe at the very beginning weren't rich, but then because of those unfortunate events, then they would get wealthy. So there is no need for you to be happy about having wealth or feel sorrow for being poor. So there is really no need to feel in such a way because there is no true meaning in this world anyhow. Instead, you should recognize that everything is impermanent. For instance, determine if wealth is useful. Suppose one of you owes several billions dollars, while another has only $10,000. Despite the difference of your assets, the food, clothing, housing, and transportation that you need are really limited. So even if you possess much more money than others, you won't be able to use all of it on your own. At that time, Phuntsok Rinpoche said $10,000. When you think about $10,000, it's not that much, but when we talk about billions, it's really just a number, and people like to talk about it, billionaire and so on. It's just changes of numbers for the wealthy men. When they have more money, they don't really feel much about, they don't really have that kind of feeling about money anymore. Nowadays, I think there are all kinds of things that could happen in this world. For example, there are beggars, lots of beggars in this world, in United States as well. And nowadays they would live broadcast on how beggars would live or homeless would live their life, how they spend their nights and how they spend their days. A few days ago, someone was broadcasting, paying pilgrimage tour to Lhasa, and he live broadcasted for the entire journey to Lhasa with a few dogs. So all kinds of things, strange things happening around this world. For billionaires, money could be just numbers in their bank accounts. But for example, someone who's really ill or someone who's struggling to live, then money is also necessary, especially for the Mahayana practitioners. On one hand, money is not that necessary. On the other, if we don't have money, it could create difficulties to us. So all of the monastics as well as the lay practitioners, I hope that you do not get greedy about having more money. On the other hand, do not spend all of the money that you have, because if you don't have any money at all, that would be that would create lots of unnecessary sufferings in your life as well. So when you have some money, do not spend all of them. There are people who would try their best to accumulate money by chanting and by chanting prayers and so on for the others, and then at the end of the month they would offer all of their savings to this lama and that lama, or use that money to get more predictions and so on. This is rather very foolish. You need to get some money to save up some money for unexpected illness, for medicine. Do not waste that on more predictions and so on. The pursuit of happiness in samsara will find no end, however hard you try. But sadly, most people in the world struggle day and night only for food, clothing, housing, and transportation. As a matter of fact, if you have accumulated enough merit, you will easily succeed in what you do. If you lack merit, however hard you try, you will not get rid of poverty, and all your effort for gaining wealth will be in vain. Well, for lay practitioners nowadays, especially the Chinese family that has only one child, if you're the only child in those families, I think it will be very difficult for you, especially when there are difficulties with your parents, if they get ill and so on. Different kinds of things could happen. Your job could change, the whole environment could change. There are lots of uncertainties in this world, so it would be the best for you to save up a little bit. Do not spend all of the money that you accumulated. Now, this is the third mind training. Well, Pontsog Rinpoche is holding a crystal mala. I'm not so sure if this is the mala that we got from the second stop, or can you see the red mala that's hanging on Pontsog Rinpoche's ear? Now, this is the mala that Pontsog Rinpoche later gifted to all of us, and I am wearing it right now. Let's look at the fourth mind training. The activities of this life are always pointless, like the good and bad dreams in a single night. Whatever you do in this life, such as fighting with enemies, caring for family members, doing business or farming, is as pointless as what happens in a dream during sleep. This tells us the truth that life is like a dream. Some people live happy lives from birth, while some undergo all kinds of hardships and misery throughout their lives. But if you think about it, all these experiences are no different from what happens in a dream. All the joys and sorrows in last night's dream have now become merely a memory, but nothing tangible to be found. Similarly, the ups and downs that you have experienced since you came into this world have all become the past. From this perspective, the experiences of waking life and those in a dream do not have the slightest difference. In the same manner, all the pleasures and sadness that you're going to experience in the future are no different from what will happen in tomorrow night's dream. Although they appear to exist, the moment they have disappeared, they will have become merely a memory of past, but nothing tangible to be found. So maybe one more? The fifth mind training, the result of sublime liberation is that suffering never returns. Like an individual cured of smallpox, the meaning is that some will probably wonder, if all kinds of happiness and fame in samsara have no substance, is there anything that has significant meaning that could be put into practice? If the result of liberation is attained, such as bodhisattva, bhumis, or Buddhahood, this state of happiness will never decline and is forever free from suffering. For instance, this is an infectious disease called smallpox. I believe Emperor Shunzhi passed away because of smallpox. The emperor from Qing dynasty, and then that's when the emperor Kangxi, at a very young age, took the reign of the whole country. There were also other rumors saying that he didn't die of smallpox, rather he got ordained and became a monk, but they didn't want to announce it. Once you are cured of it, you will never get infected again. Well, unfortunately, COVID is not like smallpox. You will get again and again infected by COVID. In the same manner, once you achieve liberation, you will never again experience suffering. Therefore, you must try as soon as you can to apply and practice the skillful means toward attaining liberation. We should stop here today.
Chibum sunin drova druvara shoy